Hello once again, Director Doug here with another behind the scenes with one of our actors. Now, this actor we're about to interview, he's kind of known to be a cool dude, a mountain hiking guy and a guitar strumming counselor. And, well, kind of on the other extreme, he plays God. And most recently, he's got a new job, and that is the bailiff at the courthouse in Discovery Mountain. The one, the only Mr. Garcia, who is played by Alex Rodriguez. So Steve and Jean are going to grill him today and get to hear a little bit about what makes him tick in real life. So off to you guys.
Thanks, Director Doug. Hey, Alex, thanks for hanging out with us in the studio this morning.
Hey, what's up, Miss Jean?
There you go. There's the cool dude.
There's the cool dude.
Yeah.
So as Director Doug said, you play a few roles, but we want our listeners to have a chance to get to know Alex, the person behind these various roles. So let's start and just share with us, Alex, what your day-to-day job is.
Well, at the heart, my day-to-day job at the heart is being a police officer. That's who I am. I did that for so many years, that and the fire service, and I was a fireman, I was a police officer. I just, that is so ingrained in me that that it's hard to pull me away from that. But the Lord has done a marvelous job of extricating me from that life, and He's got me here as a pastor. I work with the Voice of Prophecy. I'm the evangelism director, and so we do evangelism. We go out and do soul winning. We make resources. We talk to churches and pastors. We go training around the world, and it's exciting too. It's not quite law enforcement. I don't get to put the people in jail anymore, and so that I do miss. But we're doing a great work for the Lord, and that's exciting.
Well, your work might actually help keep them out of jail.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Preventative.
Yeah. Preventative
That's
work.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
although there was an excitement about putting them in jail, if they're bad. I mean, they're not the good guys, but the bad guys. But preventative is good. I like that too.
So your role as the bailiff in the courthouse, that kind of taps back into that side of you, doesn't it?
Oh man, I tell you what, that was just it was exciting. It was like I was back in uniform. I could just imagine the whole thing. I've been in those situations where you're in court, you're supposed to be testifying, or you're supposed to be standing by because somebody's testifying, and you need to put them back in. I never worked with the jail a lot, so a lot of jailers do that kind of stuff, but yeah, the court world and the court system, that's so familiar to me, and it was exciting. It was exciting to be put in that part. Thank you, Jean. That was awesome.
Well, you're welcome. Yeah, thank you.
So you've already mentioned a couple of them, but what are some other ways that you are the same or opposite of the character that you play?
I think similarly. There's a bundle of energy that I've got. There's this excitement when I go into something. I'm just very passionate about it, and in fact, when I used to preach at my church, sometimes I'd get some of the church members or even kids. I'd have some of the kids that really trusted me. They'd come, Pastor, why were you so mad up there today? and I wasn't mad. It's just I'm a very passionate guy, and I just can't say anything without moving my hands and really getting into it. And so in some ways, I think in Mr. Garcia and I just kind of relate with each other with just this kind of passion of life, and I love life. We've got this crazy insurance thing right now going where we were just talking about this before, but we got to get lots of points to actually get our insurance, and anyway, one of the things that you have to track is your mood. And so every day I go onto that computer software and I think about my mood. Well, it's always a happy face.
Aw,
because
awesome.
I can't think of a day that I am not really happy. It's just I love life, and even when you get beat up, when I think about living and I think about what the Lord has done for us and my kids and all this stuff, I can't help but just say I'm happy today.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's see. I'm thinking about my mood tracker. It's not always a happy face, but it's very rarely a frowny face.
That's because you live with Pastor Sean.
Well,
Well, no. She did say very rarely a frowny
Very
face.
rarely.
we'll just leave that one right there, Pastor Alex.
Hey, pastors are difficult to live with. I mean, my wife, she'll be like, "Oh, you're so frustrating," and I'll be like, "I don't know why. I mean, I'm fine."
Well, the one thing about pastors I will say is there's often the cliche that the wives are the ones who are talking, and the men are waiting for them to stop talking, right? That's not true with pastors.
No.
You guys are way more talkative than your wives generally.
We've got something to say, and it's always good.
Right. It is generally always good.
Generally.
So, Alex, what's your favorite food?
Oh man, I have so many. This is my problem. This is really my problem. I like so much stuff. It's kind of like the happiness of life. But I remember when I was in college, I didn't know what to do with my life. Imagine that. And so they told me that I could go to the testing center and I could take these tests and it would tell me what I was good at and it would just give me the direction. I would know is what I was promised. I would know what degree to take once I got these tests done. Mm-hmm. And so I was so excited about that. I went and took the test and about a week later they called me back. I sat down with the counselor and he said, "I've got good news for you." And oh man, I was so excited, just chomping at the bit. And he was like, "Man, you can do anything you want to do." I was so mad when I left there. I was like, useless.
No help at all.
Man, but that's always been my problem. I love so much. So I love pizza and I love spaghetti products and anything dealing with lasagna and anything that has spaghetti sauce, tomatoes. I just love that stuff. But probably my most favoritist, if that's a word.
Your favoritist of the favorites?
My favoritist of the favorites.
It sounds like a Mr. Garcia word.
Yeah, that's a Mr. Garcia word. That would be chicken pot pie.
Oh, okay.
Veggie chicken pot pie.
Veggie chicken pot pie.
Yeah, because I've been vegetarian most of my life. But yeah, I just love that. I hardly ever get it, but when I do, it's just mine. It's mine.
Good. That's good comfort food.
It
nice,
is.
Yes.
crusty
Oh,
pastry
yes.
topping. Yummy.
Yes. Potatoes. Oh, I love potatoes. Did I say potatoes? I could eat. I grew up on rice and beans, and so I wasn't really. I mean, I had potatoes as a kid. From Puerto Rico, we do a lot of stews. Like you mix the beans with potatoes and onions and some garlic and other spices and usually they Hispanics are big meat people and so they have some kind of meat in there, but anyway, I got used to those stews as a kid, but that was the only way we really ate potatoes a whole lot. But my wife, she's kind of a Pennsylvania Dutch girl, and got German blood, and her family, they hardly ever ate rice and beans. They ate potatoes. So
yep.
when
Mashed
I got
and fried and every which way.
Every way you can make potatoes. And so she introduced me to potatoes, the joy, the man.
joy of the
I tell you what, along with my favorite fruits, potatoes, I bet potatoes are on the tree of life. I can just see
That's
it.
interesting theology.
Oh,
there,
yeah.
Alex.
It's interesting theology. Stick
Love
with
it.
me.
Delicious choices there. So, what's your favorite Bible verse?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, this is going to be like food, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
It is.
We're
So many to choose from.
going to journey now from the book of Genesis all the way to
Just all the
Revelation.
way
It
to
won't
Revelation.
take long. Just stick with us. We'll be here for a few hours. No. I love so many verses, but every time that I think about my favorite verse, and here I am getting serious about to preach, but it's 1 Corinthians 10:13. There's no doubt about it in my mind. It's 1 Corinthians 10:13. That is my favorite verse.
Beautiful. Yeah. We'll have to share that at the close of the program. So if you're listening and you're not familiar with that verse, you listen and we'll read it at the end. Alex, you shared a little bit already that when you were a college student, you just didn't know which direction to go in your life. But when you were a little kid growing up in Puerto Rico, was there something that you kind of thought you wanted to be when you grew up?
Yeah, everything. Yeah, I just
Everything.
everything. So there was a time there that I wanted to be an astronaut. Loved the sky. I still love it. I love technology and just being up there in a space shuttle. You know, SpaceX launched that shuttle up there, or whatever they want to call that thing, where those two astronauts were
Crew
going
Dragon,
up.
right?
Yeah, the crew. Yeah, that initial testing crew. And even to this day, I was so wishing and hoping that I could have been on there. I would have, even with the dangers of it. I just thought, oh man, to be able to get up there, to be able to be up in the sky in the air. This is why I can't wait to go to heaven, to travel from place to place. I'll be an astronaut when I get to heaven. So I thought about that. I thought about being a doctor. I wanted to be a doctor for a long, long time. But then I realized that I don't really like being around sick people. So that would be a problem. I thought about biomechanics because my undergraduate degree is in physical education and health, and so I loved kinesiology. I loved the bones, and so I thought about that. Almost actually did that. I love drawing. It's not something that I do often, but I love drawing and architecture, and so. In fact, I've got this program at home that I'm constantly drawing houses and barns and things when I have time.
I didn't know that about you,
Yeah.
Alex.
Yeah.
Another hidden talent.
Yeah, one of those things. So I actually changed my major at one time to electromechanical engineering.
Wow.
And oh man, I just loved it. In fact, I still have a tube of drawings from some of the classes that I took where I was drawing bolts and nuts and just exciting stuff. But I love that. I wanted to be a coach. I wanted to teach. I've done some teaching. I've taught physical education in the grade school and at the high school level. When I was in law enforcement, I started getting to some teaching there. I was teaching law enforcement classes, and so then the Lord put a pause to all that, and told me He called me to ministry, and that was a crazy shock. I mean that came from left field. I never saw that coming, and. So yeah, now I'm in ministry. Music. I've done music my entire life. Started with the violin. I played the violin probably for about 9 years, and still have it at home. Once in a while, I take it out and goof off with the thing. Play a little piano, but mostly focused on voice. I've taken gobs of lessons, and it's like anything else. You know, if you don't use it, you lose it, and so trying to find time to actually keep things refined is really tough. But that's me. I love it all. Outdoors. Did I say anything about outdoors? Oh my goodness! I've thought about and there for a while, which is funny because I'm not really a big animal guy, but I thought about the ocean. I love water, and so I thought, man, what if I went to SeaWorld several times when I was a kid. And I thought, how cool would it be? And Jacques Cousteau, you remember that guy from,
Yep,
you'd watch these programs and they were out there diving and I have my diver's license. And so been diving several times, love it underwater, love the fish. And I thought, man, I should be a researcher out here on a boat. And so I've thought about that. Outdoors, I love outdoors. And
you need to live to 200 to fulfill all
I
of
know.
these things, Alex.
I tell you what, man, if I was like Methuselah, I'd have all kinds of stuff that I'd be able to do.
So speaking of the outdoors, do you have any pets?
Yeah. There, it is funny. I'm not an animal person at all. But I have a significant amount of little critters that accompany me everywhere.
And not just your 5 kids.
Besides your children,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, you weren't talking about kids. I'm
No,
sorry.
no.
Yeah. Beasts. Yeah. Well, that applies to my kids sometimes too. Well, my wife thinks that applies to me, but no. It's I do have pets. I have lots of them. I have 2 dogs, Chloe and Abel. Abel is a German Shepherd, and Chloe is a lab pit mix. We thought we were getting a lab, and we ended up with a lab pit. Sweetest dog in the world. My kind of dog just lounges around. Abel is the total opposite. He's just the high-strung. He's probably more like me, except I wish I had his energy to exercise. But then I'd get lots of points for that insurance.
Right.
That would be amazing.
Wouldn't that be great?
In fact, I did think, this is terrible. Don't do this. Don't do this at home. But I did think about putting my little pedometer thing on
the
Abel
dog.
and letting him run. I did. I had. Okay. This is. I hope Adventist Risk Management doesn't hear this.
Yeah, careful now.
But yeah, I wanted to test my pedometer that they give me, the buzz, the little, and I was trying to weigh that against the Apple Watch and see which one was better, trying to figure out which one to give me the best amount of steps, or to calculate it correctly, is what I meant to say. And so I gave the buzz to my son, who is a horse trainer. And he came back with 30-something thousand steps in one day.
Wow!
And so it was all the horse, of course. But yeah. So I did think about giving it to Abel. Abel's just a wired German Shepherd. He's just bouncing around all the time. But so I've got 2 dogs. I've got 2 cats. I have. I don't know how many chickens now. We're probably up to 50 or so chickens.
Wow.
And
That's a lot.
And then we have one horse at where my son works, and they want more. They want more horses, and they want goats. And my son came up to me the other day and he says, "I want a cow." And I was like, why would you want a cow?
Why not?
Come
Come on, get him a cow, Alex.
And my wife wants llamas, and I'm thinking, Lord, why did you have to do this to me? But yeah, I've got a lot of little guys that run around and keep me fulfilled or stressed, one of the two.
Bit of both,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Well, Alex, I think we already know the answer, and I'm almost scared to ask. But what do you like to do when you have free time? The rare bits that you have.
Hide. I just like to hide. I love kids. And obviously, one of the hardest things for me was Myanmar. Kurt and I had an opportunity to go to Myanmar. Victor and I had an opportunity to go to Myanmar as well. I think Victor and I went out there first. And one of the places that we visited was the university, and next to the university was an orphanage. And that was the toughest thing for me to walk through this orphanage and watch these little kids that had no home, no place to go. And talking to them, one little girl sat down and sang me a whole song. I've got on my phone. It was just heartbreaking. And so I remember asking the question, can I take any of these home? And the way that the law is written there, the answer is no. They won't let us come in and adopt them out. But I had already texted my wife and said, "Hey, don't be surprised if I'm coming home with 2 or 3."
Not just one, 2
not
or
just
3.
one. Yeah. So it's heartbreaking. I love kids. I didn't go out to do youth ministry. I never have. But somehow I always get involved with that, and so right now I'm the Pathfinder director at Campion. There's a young adult group that I assist with Pastor Getz out here. A group that came, GYC, the Generation of Youth for Christ. A lot of kids go to that, and we had some kids that went last year and came back and wanted to start their own affiliate in this area, and so. So they got together, and I don't know if they'll actually ever turn into an affiliate, but they have turned into a pretty strong young adult group that is going around and trying to help the churches in the community. And so we keep quite busy doing that. In fact, coming up here soon, we're going to be at another church. And so, I love that. I love photography, love woodworking. Got a little woodworking shop at the house. Love the outdoors. With Pathfinders, it's perfect. Love camping and I love things. I love things like tents. I got way too many tents and dumb things. Like
that's good for Pathfinders.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like batteries and we're talking about it. I just my mind just went to the school aisle where you go into the in Target or Walmart and you see all the erasers and all the pencils.
Yes. I love all that stuff.
You're there. You're there. It's just I want them just because they're. It's lots of them and they're there and they're all the same. So those are some of my my hobbies. I like to eat.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I'm not a lot bigger than I am. But I do like exercise, but only after I've actually started doing it. Once I get into it and when I'm done, I'm like, man, that felt good. But I
completely get that.
It's tough, man.
It's the psychological first step of getting going. Yeah, that's the toughest.
I don't understand some of the people that have that drive, that they just do it with no problem. It's just, for me, it's you have to crank start me. Anyway.
No, but once you're in it, I mean, it's a great thing, right? And you feel fantastic when you're done, right?
Yeah.
But it's just getting off the couch. Oh,
yeah. Mary's totally the opposite of that.
she posts all the time,
she's like,
right?
How can you stand to sit for so long? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, there are people like that. I don't know. I'm not familiar with them myself. So one last question for you, Alex.
Yeah.
All right. So if Discovery Mountain were a real place and you could visit it, what would you most like to do?
All of it. I'm going to answer for him.
Yeah, you go, girl. You know. Man, I've got so many things I want to do in Discovery Mountain. I do have to tell you though, I love the new picture that you got out on Discovery Mountain and what it looks like. But it has really, I've lost sleep over that.
No, really?
Yeah, it's because it's not the Discovery Mountain. I know. I've already painted the picture of what Discovery Mountain looks like, and it's so I'm just I've been able to ease my pain and sorrow by saying, well, this is kind of it's kind of a rendition of what it would look like if you put it all together in one picture.
Yes,
that's true.
But really, if it was spread out, it would be just like it's in my head. So, but I would love to get out and see. You remember the first one where Jake kind of was lost in the woods and he was looking down and
season 1.
Yeah, I'd love to be there where you can fall off and I just kind of being able to see that and then there was the observatory. I'd love to see the observatory and Trekkers. Who doesn't want to go to Trekkers?
Oh, I know.
I want to walk around Trekkers
point, right?
and I want to get a shake and buy some stuff. I don't care what it is, but I just want to buy some stuff from Trekkers.
Maybe more school supplies.
More school supplies.
More
That's right.
gear.
That's right.
Yeah,
and
got it all.
Right. And of course, I want to be at the police department.
Right.
So I want to see the police department. Give me a tour. Probably the biggest thing on my list though is I want to tour the school. I'm an educator, and so schools. I love schools, which is funny because I homeschool my kids, but I love the academic world and I love schools, and I would just love to take a tour of the school itself and take a look at that. And then of course I love to eat. So
visit the cafe.
I want to visit the cafe.
Yeah.
I want to get some of that great food. So a little bit of everything.
Oh, well, it sounds great. Well, Alex, it's been so much fun having you here in studio, and I know that our listeners are going to enjoy listening and having a little more insight into who you are and what you bring to your roles, and just how much of you is in the characters that you play. So thanks for sharing with us today.
Oh, not a problem. Thanks for having me.
Well, Pastor Alex shared his favorite verse with us, and I'm going to share that with us just now. It's 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13, and it's a powerful promise. It says this: "No temptation has overtaken you except such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able, but with the temptation will also make the way of escape, that you may be able to bear it." And that's a beautiful, beautiful promise. Thank you, Alex, for sharing that. And just a shout out to any of our pastors and pastor families that are listening to Discovery Mountain and listen to this interview today. Pastors, if you're interested in finding out what our parent ministry, the Voice of Prophecy, can do with you and equip you with in your local church, well, just reach out to us. You just reach out to us on the website. Producer Steve will see that, and he will send it straight to Pastor Alex. So thank you so much for listening, and join us again again next time for another mini adventure.